Welcome to Your Cyber Path, the podcast that helps you get your dream cybersecurity job by sharing the secrets of experienced hiring managers and top cybersecurity professionals with you. Now, on to the show.
And so let's dive into what it actually is, right? So Salzer and Schroeder said in their paper, in situations in which preventative controls are unlikely to be sufficient, consider deploying detective controls so that if security is breached, A, the damage might be able to be contained or limited by prompt incident response, and B, evidence of the perpetrator's identity might be captured. So really, Kip, what is the short way of saying all of those words? What do we need to do?
I like logging and alerting,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of how people talk about it now. Event monitoring is another way people talk about it. And of course, we're all very much sensitized to the fact that we're absolutely drowning in logs and alerts and events. I mean, we have more than we know what to do with these days. And so while this is a great idea, we're not quite where we want to be yet, right?
Well,
So
I think it was also a little easier back in 1975 to do this, right? Because you could turn on system logs on your Unix system, for example, right?
Yep.
And you'd have one consolidated place to look at your
that's
log.
right.
And you had one person using a machine, maybe a couple if you're using a mainframe at a given time. But the volume was so much less
That's
than
right.
what we see nowadays in a networked
And
environment.
you're just talking about one enclosed system.
right.
Right. In 1975, there really wasn't, machines talking to machines in real time. You had to load something on a tape, walk that tape over to another building. Then that's how you did data transfer back then. Right. So the world
Yep.
was way more simple.
Yep. And you mentioned logging and alerting. You also mentioned event monitoring. The other thing that I think about with this is when I think about the 3 A's of security, right? So we talk about, authorization, authentication, and then the third one, which is accounting. And accounting really is this thing of logging that we're talking about, right? So if you could do accounting or auditing, that is all about logs and alerts and events. And as you said, we are drowning in logs, right? So we need all the help we can get. And one of the first things that I saw that kind of helped this about 20 years ago was a SIEM, right? And a SIEM is a security information and event management system. It allows you to take all those logs and use something like syslog to gather the logs from all your network devices, all your hosts, put them into a centralized server that we can then query and look at and try to correlate the different logs against each other. Because as you just said, when you start networking systems together, it's not just important to know what's happening on your system, but it's also important to know what's happening on this database server down the hall and the web server over there and the client down in the other part of the network.